The $83 million judgment against Donald Trump just got frozen. And the legal chess match playing out right now could rewrite the rules for every future president. Your understanding of what's actually happening in this case is about to get a serious upgrade. In this video, we covered the federal appeals court pause on the E. Jean Carroll judgment, the Supreme Court wild card, and what Trump lawyer Alina Habba said after that trial that most people completely missed. And if you stick with me to the end of this video, you will find out that this story is far more layered than the headline version you've been fed. For every leftist you have seen online who trashes Trump for being found liable for Carroll's alleged sexual fantasy story, this video might just be your vindication. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to RPW Media, where we cut through the noise and we give you the straight story without the spin. My name is Rich, and if you like our videos, then you'll probably like our live streams. So join us tomorrow night and every Friday night at 6 p.m. Eastern for a live stream where we go over a whole lot of news stories that we couldn't get to through the week, and we hit them with a bit of sarcasm, a dash of humor, and a whole lot of conservative common sense. Join us in the chat, and I promise you will have a good time. All right. So let's talk about something that actually matters this week, because $83 million just got put on ice, and almost nobody is explaining why that's a bigger deal than it sounds. A federal appeals court issued a hold on the $83 million judgment that President Trump was ordered to pay E. Jean Carroll in her defamation lawsuit. Now, the pause is in place while the Supreme Court decides whether to get involved. And here's the thing. Nobody actually knows yet if the Supreme Court is going to step up. Until that question gets answered, the whole situation just sits there. But ask yourself this. If the highest court in the land decides to weigh in, what does that mean for every legal battle that comes after? Now, Carroll's team didn't oppose the delay, which, if you think about it, is a little interesting on its own, but they had one condition. Trump had to add another $7.5 million to his bond to cover the extra interest he could owe if he loses the appeal. Trump asked for the hold, and the court said yes, and Carroll got her condition honored. So both sides essentially agreed to hit pause. That doesn't happen very often. And just when you think you understand where this is going, the backstory changes everything. Let's back up, because the backstory here is worth knowing. Back in 2019, Carroll came forward claiming Trump sexually assaulted her in a dressing room in Bergdorf Goodman sometime in the mid-90s. After Trump publicly pushed back on those allegations, first from the White House and then after he left, she took him to court over those denials specifically. And it's worth noting, because this gets blurry in the media coverage, those were two completely separate legal actions. And you think about this. In this case, Carroll couldn't remember when in the 1990s. She didn't remember the year or the day. Now, juries ruled in Carroll's favor in both cases, awarding her damages each time. Trump has not accepted either outcome and is actively fighting both in court. So we're not talking about one lawsuit. We're talking about a multi-front legal war that's been grinding through the courts for years. After the full Second Court of Appeals rejected Trump's claims of presidential immunity, along with several other attempts to avoid paying this massive judgment, Trump took the obvious next step. He went to the Supreme Court, and now everyone's watching and waiting to see what the justices do. Now, that word immunity is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this whole debate. Trump's legal team has argued that statements he made while serving as president should be shielded from civil liability. The Second Circuit said no. The Supreme Court may or may not agree to look at it again. This is uncharted territory, and anyone who tells you they know exactly how this ends is either lying to you or trying to sell you something. See, the fact of the matter is, this was lawfare from the very beginning. And what we're about to show you with lawyer Alina Habba in a presser right after this trial ended should shake you to your core. Now, here's the part where most people either skipped over or didn't even hear about at all. Alina Habba, Trump's lawyer from that trial, went in front of the cameras after the trial ended and absolutely unloaded on the judge. Her main argument was that the judge did not allow her to bring any evidence forward for a proper defense. Who has ever heard of that? I bet many of you watching this right now didn't even know what she's about to say. Let's give it a watch.
No. I'm glad you asked me that question. No, I'm not having any second thoughts about representing President Trump. It is the proudest thing I could ever do.
Good for her.
What I am having second thoughts about is the license that I stand here with that the people in there are supposed to have. I have not spoken because I respect my ethics while I'm on trial. But let me now speak about what has happened.
Where do you hear this?
I have sat on trial after trial for months in this state, the state of New York. Attorney General Letitia James, and now this. Weeks. Why? Because President Trump is leading in the polls, and now we see what you get in New York. So don't get it twisted, whoever asked me that question. I am so proud to stand with President Trump. But I am not proud to stand with what I saw in that courtroom. I'm not finished. Let me just finish and I'll take questions, please. Before I walked into court, that judge decided that every single defense President Trump had, we were not allowed to raise in front of the jury. It is in writing, and I encourage the journalists, the real journalists, to take the minute to look at his orders. There was no proof. And I couldn't prove that she didn't bring in the dress. There was no DNA. There was no expert. My experts were denied. Two of them were denied to come in. They didn't let me bring up that Reid Hoffman funded Ms. Kaplan. And you know what we got in there? That my witness, who was her friend, who said that she is a drug addict and the drug addict is herself. That friend, I found out in there, was paid for by Ms. Kaplan's firm, and that is disgusting. That is a violation of everything I stand for, and that is why I stand with Trump. And that is why so many Americans are so proud that he is running again and so excited to run to the ballot box. But don't get it twisted. We are seeing a violation of our justice system. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not allowed to be stripped of every defense that you have.
Unless your name's Trump.
You are not allowed to be told that you can't bring it up. And imagine a point where a judge tells the lawyer, before your client, the former president of the United States, the leading candidate and obvious nominee for the Republican Party, before he takes the stand to defend himself, Ms. Habba, tell me the questions you're going to ask in open court and tell me exactly what he's going to respond. And then edited my questions, edited the response he was allowed to give.
Can you imagine this?
And guess what my client did? He took the stand. He abided by the rules of this corrupt system that I have seen. We will immediately appeal. We will set aside that ridiculous jury. And I just want to remind you all of one thing. I will continue with President Trump to fight for everybody's First Amendment right to speak. Everybody's a right to defend themselves when they are wrongfully accused, and to be able to say, I didn't do it. And to double and triple and quadruple down and say, this is wrong. This is wrong. But we are in the state of New York. We are in a New York jury, and that is why we are seeing these witch hunts, these hoaxes, as he calls them. And this is another one of them. Be brought in New York, in states where they know they will get juries like this. It will not deter us. We're fighting. And I assure you, we didn't win today, but we will.
I mean, think about that for a second, guys. If true, and that's a significant if, the defense was essentially hamstrung before it ever even got started. No evidence, no proper rebuttal, just a jury and a verdict. Most people have no idea that this press conference even happened. They have no idea what she said. This was 2 years ago. And they certainly have no idea what may or may not have gone on inside that courtroom. The press didn't report it. The media's version of this story has been remarkably tidy. And the real story, as usual, is considerably messier. So what does this all add up to? Here's the honest answer. We don't know yet. The Supreme Court holds all the cards right now. If they decline to hear the case, Trump likely has to pay with interest. If they take it up, this drags out further, potentially reshaping how presidential immunity is interpreted for decades. And people are going to go, why is he standing behind immunity? Why did the judge say that Trump's defense team could not put up a defense. I've never heard of that. Have you? What we do know is that the $7.5 million bond condition keeps the financial stakes real for Trump in the meantime. Carroll's team made sure of that, and Trump's team agreed, which tells you they're playing a longer game here. They're not running from this fight. They're trying to win it at the highest possible level. Here's where we land. An $83 million judgment is paused. The Supreme Court may or may not intervene. Alina Habba made serious allegations about courtroom fairness that the press largely buried. And 2 juries have already ruled that Trump, in cases that he continues to contest, but that's the full picture, not the bumper sticker version that the press wants you to know. But there is a bright side. This is exactly how the system is supposed to work. Courts review each other. Higher courts check the lower ones. Nothing gets rubber stamped without scrutiny. And this is a president of the United States who was treated that horribly in a court in New York. Whatever you think of the players involved, the legal process is grinding forward and the answers are coming. Maybe not today, but they're coming. All right, so tell me what you think about this in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
I got saved.